And we're live.
This is Russ Ellis, and you're watching the Break It Down show.
Yes, indeed. Russ Ellis has been a creator of art all his life. He's a painter, a sculptor. He's always been the catalyst for creativity for his children and the greater artistic community. And now at the ripe young age of 85, with his debut album, Songs from the Garden, on Berkeley Cat Records, he is officially a singer, songwriter, a recording artist. I've heard the tracks myself, and it's all different kinds of dope.
Sure
Russ,
is.
what on earth has gotten into you?
Music has always been in me.
Okay.
And I made sure that I got it in my kids. And
yes, you did.
They're overwhelmed by it. And then that meant they had musical friends. And so I took advantage of them in my later years. So for them, most of them were at Cazadero Music Camp.
Okay.
And for them, I was Mr. Ellis. So now at 85, I'm still Mr. Ellis. They're in their 50s, but I got a lot of freebies out of this, and they were happy to participate. Yeah. So, what got me into it is a story where I can tell you a little later.
Okay. Well, why wait? Let's get into it.
Well, my wife and I live in a big-ish Berkeley house. It's 3 stories. It's got a lot of room, big backyard. And for the last few years, we've had a Brazilian couple helping us keep the inside of the house clean. They come once a month. One day, the guy who was part of the crew, the husband of the duo, hurt his leg and couldn't come. And so then his wife was coming. These are like not big people. They're from some fishing village, in Brazil. And so I'm watching her lift this mattress, and I'm saying, no, this can't work. Anyway, I was about to say something, and she came with an assistant. And now we're uncommonly close to these people, John and Susie Mary. And so here comes another person. And I didn't have a lot of room for another person, like coming into my heart,
And house.
Well, no, the house is okay, but
Okay.
Another friend, a complicated story. Anyway, so then I read an article in the Sunday Review of the New York Times, and it was about a woman who, a writer, who was down on her luck, wasn't selling anything, didn't have any ideas, wasn't paying the bills. So she decided she'd clean people's houses to make a living, and she did, and she wrote about that. When I finished reading that article, I literally said to myself, Russell Ellis, your father's mother was born into slavery. You have the right to ignore no one. You know what I mean? I just felt this overwhelming sense of, how am I ignoring this woman who's helping me keep my house clean? And anyway, so I said to her, she didn't speak English, but I asked the boss lady, what's her name? And she said, Elisa. So I said, okay. When you come next time, I'm going to remember your name, and I'm going to remember it because I'm going to sing it. Elisa. And a song crowded itself right in behind that and insisted on being written. I've never had that experience. I've heard about it, the muse insists on being listened to and all that, but it never happened to me.
Wouldn't take no for an answer.
Hey, it just kept happening. And so I got some folks to put some stuff together, my kids and another fellow I know over in San Francisco. But then the urge kept coming.
Oh, boy.
And so I'm sure this last one, which I like a lot, called Long Time. I think it's the last one I'm going to do. I think the light has gone out. Not the music light, but this urge to speak through music. And so my last gesture, and I hope we get around to talking about this, is the Sugar Challenge.
Okay.
That's motivated by politics and stuff like that. So anyway, that's a long story made longer.
Well, okay. Now, if we rewind that, so you had this muse.
Yeah.
You needed to sing her name, Eliza.
Yeah.
And then
Elisa.
Eliza. You needed to sing it. And so singing it made you pronounce it.
In Portuguese, it's Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
But
yeah. Okay. I get you.
I think the chi worked well in the song. So I said I made it an A, Elisabetta. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now, so that was the original muse. That song came pouring out of you. Other songs came to you. And then what? When did you put up your hand and go, "Hey, everybody, let's get this together"? What came next? You start writing these songs. Did you reach out? Did you reach out to your son? Did you reach out to your daughter? What came first?
The story actually has little signposts. Just insist on being told.
Okay.
So I wanted this song, Elisa, to get out a little bit. So I asked my granddaughter, Bella, to put it up on YouTube.
All right.
And then I said, "Hey, Dave, how do I do the credits on this?"
Hold on a second. I just want to highlight people. Your granddaughter, Bella, is a theater arts major at San Francisco State. Is that correct?
That's right. Actress, a very good actress and a great singer. Right.
Great singer. Keep going.
Yeah. So
kind of runs in the family.
So Bella put it up, but then David, when he put the credits up, he said, I think at the time I called it Music from My Garden. And he said, from an album by the same name to be released in the fall.
Okay, so he committed you.
Well, I thought it was just a joke,
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
Maybe it was.
But then it occurred to me, hey,
he's on to something.
I could do this. So I went for it. That's what
now for and for the crowd, if you don't know, Russ's son Dave Ellis is a sax player renowned in the Bay Area, and he goes after it. So if he ropes you in, you kind of can't say no. You got to take the ride.
There you go. That's
okay,
good.
So then from an upcoming album that you're committed to doing, and so what's next?
Well, I think the album is through. I'm waiting something I think that Zoe wants to add, and David says he wants to add something to it. I would be involved in it. And my granddaughter, Lily, my youngest granddaughter.
Yeah, she got a lot going on too.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you. She wants to do she's in the process of putting together a song having to do with climate change with one of her friends. And she wants that on the album with me as kind of an interlocutor. So I'm waiting to see if that happens, but I'm through myself. And I'm happy with what we got. And so now I branched into this other thing, taking a song that Dave and I put together. I call it a song. It's a chant. Me chanting and Dave playing various things and rhythms. And it's got lyrics at the beginning. I guess I was motivated by the homeless, I guess. Ain't got no money. Done lost my honey. My nose is runny. And the president's crazy.
Yeah.
And then there's an explosion of tweeting birds. And then we mess around. And I thought, that might be nice to get some folks to remix it.
Uh-huh.
And I was hoping at the time, we'll see how it goes, to motivate people to get to the polls. It's kind of the idea of this Sugar Challenge. And I went after people from my kids' world, Mike Blake and Chris Berger.
Yeah.
From Professionals years and the Alphabet Soup and all, way back then. And so they put together the first remix.
Great remix.
Oh, it is, and it's good. It's really good, yeah. And my partner.
The two of them and Josh Lubinsky.
Yes, exactly. Right. Anyway, so that's a starter. And then my partner, Eric Din, decided he had to have one there.
Of course.
So he put what he calls his psychopathic one up, which I like. I like the way.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch coming, but I can't say who they are. I'm pretty sure my granddaughter Lily and Chris Berger, CB, might have one coming.
Okay.
and there are a bunch of others. But you have to wait and see. You know how things go. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to point our listeners and viewers to when we're done here, go visit Berkeley Cat Records and look at their website. There's a tab there.
Click on
for Russ Ellis. Yeah, click on Russ Ellis, and you can hear a lot of the tunes. You can hear, you can hear the remixes, and I encourage you to do that, everybody. It's good stuff, a lot of good stuff. Yeah. So, okay, keep going. The process now, because so far you've included both your kids, a couple of your grandchildren, Eric, Chris Berger, Mike Blake, Josh Lubensky. You also have Dave Shull on guitar. He helped you write some music. Al Marshall on the drums. We're just getting started, by the way.
I know. I'm Mr. Ellis. I can get away with this.
Yeah. So you say, hey, you know what? If Dave's going to make me make an album, I'm going to enlist help.
Right. There you go.
And you bring all the kids you've been raising all these years.
That's right.
Into it with you. So now the process gets underway. I imagine at 85 years old, you've made a series of good decisions, and you've put yourself in a place where you have some leisure time to do these things.
I'm not looking over my shoulder.
Okay, good. So now you bring some people in. Tell me about some of the facilities you use. Where were you recording all this stuff?
Wow, God, thanks a lot for doing that.
Yeah, of course.
Cam is in Richmond. I forget the name of his shop.
Yeah. What is the name of Cam's shop?
The other guy right here near me in Oakland. And you got me cornered. That's one of the features of 85. You'll lose information really fast.
Yeah. Okay, well.
I was only in 2 recording studios because by the time, let's say I did 3 things in studios. The
Bird and Egg, Zoe says.
Oh, yeah,
that's the name of Cam's place.
There you go, right. All right. There you go. Thank you. See, I'm Mr. Ellis.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So, I did 2 in Oakland, and the first one of those was "I Got You."
Okay.
And that's the thing I did with Eric, and he and my son Dave, when they were in junior high school, had a local band called the Uptones, and they played ska music. Now, I was very busy in my life at that time, trying to be a successful academic at UC Berkeley. Mm-hmm. And I didn't actually know what ska was. And until I did this tune and I did a little research, I didn't even know that it was Jamaican originally,
Wow.
And you can hear a lot of stuff in there. Anyway, so I just said, okay, I've got these lyrics, so I got this idea, and it's a love song, and it's someone on the edges of society. I seem to be drawn to that. And also I'm drawn to love songs. I'm a Tin Pan Alley guy. I'm 85, but anyway, so we did that song in the studio. And Bird and Egg we did, but it was before the virus hit, because I had a lot of musicians. If you look at who's on that, that'll knock your teeth off.
Well, Zoe's been chiming in here. So
okay.
She said, first of all, that there's a remix coming for Umchaga from Zoe and Mike Marshall.
All right. That's right.
Lily and Chris are going to do one, like you said.
Yeah.
But in terms of who played on the record, how about Cedric Dennis, Tammy Hall?
Yeah.
Daryl Anders.
How about it?
Yeah.
I mean, they were just like on my side.
Deson Claiborne.
Yeah. Am I bad or what?
Yeah, man. Yeah. You put together a
I
cast.
did, and I knew what I wanted too. How about that?
But I'll tell you what, when you listen to the stuff too, it's apparent that people weren't afraid to show up and rip on your behalf.
That is true. I am, as they say in church, I'm blessed. That is true. They came ready to play. Yeah, no question.
Yeah. Now,
the blues was the hardest.
oh,
Yeah, it was really hard because I'm not a blues singer,
I see.
and it
is a discipline.
Oh, people think it's like some simple chords, and no, the blues is a whole thing.
Now you credited what is it? The Magic Carpet, the Magic Carpet Blues Ensemble.
That's just a name I gave to the group who showed up.
That's just for this record, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so the Magic Carpet Blues Ensemble showed up for this thing and this thing only. So you guys better get it.
Yeah, I love. Well, yeah, Tammy came to my house. Tammy Hall. I've been watching her for a while. I was on the board of Freight and Salvage for several years, and so in that world, a whole bunch.
There's something special about blues piano too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and she's got
Tammy Hall kills it.
She understands it, in her bones. She came to my house to rehearse on this tune that I had in my mind. And it's called, what's it called on the album? It's called
Night Driver.
Night Driver. And it had a subtitle that I didn't put on, but it was The Next to Last Old Ass Black Man's Bragging Blues. and everybody was down for it. And Tammy came to my house and we practiced. And she's one of the best teachers I ever met. She just put me at ease right away. I was anxious as hell. I was recording it so I could remember it. But she just agreed to manage the recording session and so forth. So we put it together and it took off. David wasn't there. My son was at home, but he added his stuff later.
Oh, wow.
And many of the things happened later, didn't happen simultaneously in studios.
Huh.
That's the new world you guys are in.
Well, it's interesting to hear because, when a record happens like that and it sounds like an ensemble cast, you always try to pick it apart and figure out whether it was done all at once.
Oh, yeah.
And if you pull it off, it sounds like it was done all at once.
Yeah.
These guys it sounds great.
These guys are good.
Yep.
And Dave Schull.
Dave Schull.
Huh? Isn't he something?
What a guitarist, huh?
He was like that when he was 12.
Come on.
Man, read the liner notes.
Yeah.
I was at Cass, and there he was. I think I can get away with this. He drank more beer than any 12-year-old I know.
Where was the beer coming from? I thought you were chaperoning this arrangement.
Across the way in Cazadero, people would out and get stuff,
Yeah.
And but he played that guitar, man. And I just couldn't believe the sound that little boy was getting out of that instrument. He understood that guitar so well back then. So he's always been on my mind. Now he and the other person who just was on my mind a lot was Jay Lane, who I met. Jay was 14 and the youngest kid at the jazz camp at Cazadero. But there were a lot of good musicians. Al Marshall was there because his dad was on the faculty, Eddie Marshall and so on. So, I mean, I got a lot of these folks to play with me on this. And they're all good, they're good technicians, they're good musicians. And it was just a joy. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So, let's keep going.
Okay.
You were I'm hearing myself feedback and it's kind of bugging me. Sorry about that.
Okay.
You are in the process of making the records. You're pulling together all the cast. Everybody's kind of rallying behind you, it sounded like.
Yep.
It didn't seem like you had to do much to get people to jump in.
Tell the truth. I mean, almost no money.
Yeah. Were you writing simultaneously or did you write all the stuff first and then start bringing people in?
One at a time as they showed up.
Ah.
They showed up and asked to be written. I know that sounds creepy, weird, but it's kind of, to me, I'm sort of a barefoot empiricist, and I have a mystical side, and it's been tested in life, and I do have a mystical side, but I'm pretty straight ahead, you know. This was something that has never happened to me, but I know people who have that. The stuff comes to them, and they are an instrument for its entering the world on a page, on a score, and that's what happened to me.
Is it something that people can awaken, or does it you just have to be open to it and allow it to happen? Because it sounds like you didn't try to awaken anything; it just showed up.
No, it just showed up, and at this improbable moment around an improbable set of events, with my trying to make up for having, you know, ignored a housekeeper.
Yeah, yeah.
and wanting to, I didn't decide I'll sing her a pretty song to make her feel better, because I don't even think she noticed my not noticing her or not remembering her name. But the song just showed up.
Yeah.
And I did it first with a real close friend, a great musician, Jason Martineau, over in the city. And we messed around with it. He's good at messing around. And then...
And Jason played on the record too.
Yeah, he's on three tunes. Elisa, no, I think just Elisa, and my other love.
We Watch.
Not We Watch. He can't remember his own song.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think.
I think it was We Watch, but I'm gonna defer to you. You made the record.
Yeah, okay, I'll remember later. Jason's on a couple. And he has a nice solo on one of them too. And with him, I explored on that second tune. And I just did a line, and he responded, and then I responded, and we just went until it was over. Anyway, so I worked with a lot of people 30 years younger than myself.
Okay.
And that was nice. I learned a lot too.
Well, that's a way to keep the process moving. It's a way to keep current. It's a way to keep the music sounding young. I really salute the way that you made this record with such variety.
That was so important to me.
Okay.
I did have a brief singing career, very brief. Didn't go anywhere. And I wanted to be a singer.
Yeah, you sent me a couple of tracks from a while back.
Yeah, 1958. Right?
1958.
Anyway, so
I'm trying to think of what songs even came out in 1958. I mean, you're looking at songs like The Stroll.
You were out earlier than 58.
Okay.
One is Imagination, and the other is I'm Glad There Is You.
Yeah.
Very popular tunes. I like
just them. Your renditions came out in 58.
Oh yeah. And So anyway, that I didn't go anywhere, and I didn't deserve to go anywhere. I didn't have it. I wasn't actually motivated. But I've always liked sound. All my life, I've been attached to sound, the sound of birds, the sound of the wind, the sound of coyotes. I lived in Fontana, California, in the foothills of Baldy. And, nighttime, 8,000 coyotes put you to sleep. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a wonderful thing. But, or the sounds of swamps and all that. And so it's sound that I've been into. So kind of what I was doing with this album is trying to roam across a landscape of musical sounds. And the only thing I do that's kind of weird is the one with Jay Lane. And that came out of something that he and I shared at Cazadero when we took this electronic music class from Malcolm Cecil, who introduced Stevie to the electronic thing.
Wow.
He was on the faculty. And wow. Jay and Jay was 14, I was probably 30 or 35 or something, and we were in this class. And I see Jay. He was with my son in the Charlie Hunter Trio and a bunch of other scenes around these parts. And every time I see Jay, he said, "Hey, Russ, man, we got to do some Hearts of Space music, man." And you remember the show Hearts of Space?
I do not.
A KPFA show, and it was electronically generated music. Really nice, wonderfully trippy stuff.
Okay.
And so that was Jay's label for this thing. Hey, man, hey, Russ, let's do some Hearts of Space. So year after year, he'd say that. And so a couple of years ago, I said, okay, let's do it. And I went over to his studio, which he shares with Dave Schull, by the way. And we put this thing together, and we just went out. I kind of like it, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's not the only experimentation you did, though. I mean, your granddaughters kept you busy. Yeah. Everybody seemed to keep you working.
Yeah, well, they have things they're doing, and it's my album, so I got to be involved. So Apollo was done by my big granddaughter, Bella.
Yeah.
And listen to that. That's a good piece.
That's a great tune.
Yeah.
Apollo 11.
Apollo 11. And so I'm back there in the background pretending to be at some control center.
Right. You are Houston.
Yeah, that's right. It's my album, so
and she sings beautifully on that track.
Doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, she can sing.
Yeah. Oh, I hate to say it, but she took the lead on that track. So
it was hers.
Yeah, you had the good wherewithal to get out of the way.
I had no choice.
What's that like? I mean, you know what? When you venture into making it, first of all, this is not a venture that a lot of people get inspired to do later in life, and a lot of times people will get this notion where, if they've played music in their past, they'll get a notion later on in their life that, I sure wish I would have recorded something. But very few people actually hit that record button and start the creative process.
It just has to do with how deep music is a part of my life.
Okay.
And a lot of that begins with just being Black.
Okay.
Being kind of working class Black. Although my dad was not big on the blues, he liked kind of gut bucket stuff. But then he also liked Ellington and Count Basie. And anyway, but then my stepmother, born in South Carolina, but grew up in the Bronx, graduated from Hunter College in 1941, and in New York, as the eldest of 9 children, had fantasies of coming to the West, which she did, and she became a Rosie the Riveter type.
Okay.
And so, but she had fantasies of cowboys and horses and things. And so in New York, she started listening to Lefty Frizzell and Hank Williams.
Wow.
And when she and my dad hooked up after the Second World War, and I go to live with them, I'm 11 years old. On the one hand, she's playing Debussy and Scarlatti and so forth on the record player, while my dad is playing much funkier stuff than that. Mm-hmm. But she's also playing this other music, this country and Western stuff. Yeah, good looking. What you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? That was in the household. Or Drifting Along with the Tumbling Tumbleweeds. Those songs are part of me. And so music is in there.
Yeah. And all kinds of it. Storytelling, music, and everything.
And my wife, Judith, my first wife, who died a few years ago, was very supportive of music in the household, had musical instincts herself. She was all aboard with my project to engage my kids with music. And so there was music in the house. I remarried several years ago, but I remarried a woman who's a songwriter.
Okay.
And songwriters, they're pecking away at the keyboard at 2 a.m,
Always tinkering with something.
Always tinkering with something. So I have never left music.
Yeah. Well, it
And
sounds like, I mean, if we separate ourselves from music specifically, that you've always kind of been in tune with vibration.
okay, yeah.
You know, you're not out of touch with the fact that you vibrate and everybody vibrates at a plane, and you've always sort of tuned into it. It's also not often we get to discuss an octogenarian's balls, but I still say it took a lot of balls to get this album going. And
Well, no, you know why? By that time, your balls are not involved.
okay, probably for the better. Anyway,
No, let me go. You're not operating at that level of concern.
I see. I see. Okay, even
You
better.
know? So the
Yeah.
music that happens is happening because it happens.
Yeah.
You ain't going to no parties.
Yeah. You don't have ulterior motives.
Ain't nothing gonna happen. It's just the music. And
Okay.
I had such good support around me, my children and their friends and so forth. And there's a couple of places where they had to tweak me. I couldn't find the note precisely, but there wasn't a lot of that. I could still sing and wanted to sing.
Okay. It's an organic record.
Well, I'm glad you think so. Yeah, it happened
Yeah.
organically. It did, yeah.
Because there's so much different kinds of experimentation on it, there was no way that you were going to completely fake anything. Okay, I'll give you that every once in a while, maybe Cam had to tune you up somewhere, or Dave had to help you out, or whatever.
Well, mainly Dave.
Yeah, a little bit of nudging here and there. That's great. But you can hear the poetic voice. You can hear the artistic direction. You can hear that you were after something,
Thank
and
you.
after a number of somethings, because all the subject matter is different.
Thank you, and I agree with you, and I don't feel like I'm bragging to say that. Yeah, there was something there's something I was going after in each of those circumstances. That's right.
Well, it seems you get a few years after you accumulate a couple things to say that are of some consequence, right?
I guess.
Let's hope.
Well, I love a love song.
Yeah.
And at least there are at least 3 of those in there. The blues, I just felt I had to do, and my son agreed.
Did you do that just because you had the players and decided you wanted to go after a blues number?
No, I had the song in my head. I had the idea of it. It's this bragging old man.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked for people who could help me with it.
Oh, you didn't have to look far.
No, Tammy is in the neighborhood. She's involved in everything, in Oakland and Berkeley. We, overlaps all over the place. So I asked anybody can get me to her directly. I knew her, but not very well.
Hmm.
And Zoe said, "Oh yeah, let me call her." So Zoe called her, and she said, "Sure, I'd be happy to help him with the song." And then,
that is again the Magic Carpet Blues Ensemble.
That's right.
Which is Tammy Hall on piano,
absolutely.
Cedric Dennis on guitar, Daryl Anders on bass, Dazon Claiborne on the drums, and Dave played the horns. And so when you recorded that piece, you said you didn't record it. The whole thing was not recorded live.
Oh, only David was not there.
Oh, okay.
Everybody else was on the set. Oh no, right. Zoe helped me.
Well, you undoubtedly had the rhythm section there.
Yes, absolutely.
So you had to put it down.
Absolutely.
And so with a great foundation like that, you can add horns later. You can add a couple of things, but you got to put most of it down right there, especially since you have. Let's see. Zoe's comment there.
Well, she had Rhonda come in after we had everything together and do a beautiful rolling commentary on this bragging old black man's claims. People need to listen to it. just to hear that part.
On the claims, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah, really?
Let's talk about blues now, because you say you're not a blues artist, but you kind of nailed the blues. Do you have a definition of the blues in you that makes you, for some reason, prohibit saying that you're a blues artist?
No.
What is the blues to you?
No. It's not anything I can do in words. Well, yes, I can do it in words. I think the blues is something you grow up with.
Okay.
I mean, as music, you also can grow up with the blues, and a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But, and I had a lot of Black music of all sorts around me.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
we had a guitarist named Chris Thomas King on the show a couple of times, and he's blues through and through. Yes. I mean, grew up in a juke joint.
Oh yeah,
in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. That's not me. No.
Well, let me get to where I'm going with what you're saying is Chris Thomas King's definition of the blues was not music that makes you blue or that expresses, the blues as we know it, as an emotion, but it started off as blue music, like blue comedy, like it was the dirty stuff. It was the stuff that happened in the juke joints and the stuff that happened in the houses of ill repute.
Right.
That's what made it blue, and that's where blues music's.
I never heard that, but that makes sense to me as well.
I hadn't heard it until then either, but it made perfect sense. So
multiple sources of meaning crowding into one word called the blues, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right,
so now that we've established that as a broader definition. It kind of gives you a little more runway.
Oh well, okay. I can hear the blues.
Okay.
I'm good.
Well, let me ask you: when you worked in academia, what were you doing? Because somehow I feel like this relates.
I wasn't doing the blues.
Okay.
No, I was doing language.
I'll take it. I'm just happy you didn't say math. So
I was doing concepts and explication of ideas and things like that.
It's still expression.
Yeah, well, it is, but it's words.
Okay.
And it's not art in the same way that music is, or painting is, or sculpture is. You use a different side of yourself.
Okay.
And one of the
nice, more cerebral.
Well, for sure, yeah. Well, one part of the cerebellum, anyway. Anyway, so I was doing other things then, and early retirement, gave me the opportunity to explore other sides of myself. I'm really grateful that I was able to retire early.
Wow.
Yeah, because I left right off back into sculpting. And out of that came painting, and I had some shows, and I sold, some things, and I got to preen and prance with some fancy folks for a while until it got to be too much.
Right.
It gets to be heavy after a while. And then I wandered over.
He says, grinning.
Then I wandered over to this to this songwriting, and it feels complete, and I feel quite fulfilled by it. And the wide variety is fulfilling for me, the wandering that I do all over the place. The one thing I did with Jason is called Everything Changed. And that's done, we just made it up as we went along. And then I said to him, boy, I really need you to do a solo here. And he did it, and I think it's gorgeous. But that's one of my favorites on the album, Everything Changed. But the blues, back to the blues. So I struggled with it, and I commend the liner notes to everyone's attention, because I explain what happened with me and the blues. It is such an art to deliver the blues. Come on. And me, I'm going to step out and do that, and I need to. And so I'm going to. And so I do. Do you know how hard I worked?
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, man, no, it took me many weeks to even come close trusting myself to do a blues lick.
Well, and I'll say for our listeners, if they haven't heard the song yet, here's why. I'm going to interject that your lyrical delivery is sparse, and in its sparseness, there's a lot of space, and in that space, there's a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah.
And so, if there's something that if our listeners are thinking, well, why is he struggling with the blues? It seems like he's an expresser, he's an artist. The blues sounds like, it sounds like an art form where you just kind of cruise along. There are blues scales, and you just follow them and you emote. But there's a lot of space for vulnerability there.
Oh, and what you do with the space, I mean, that in some ways is more intimidating than anything. What you leave unoccupied.
That is musical nakedness.
Yeah. And you got to be bold.
Yeah.
Go out naked in some places and just let it happen.
Right, right.
And you got to be pretty sure what you're doing too.
Well,
man. Now the blues is like chess, I think, in some ways. It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm happy to hear that was a big challenge for you because you pulled it off.
Thank you. I tried, and it's my song too, so that's something.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so now what are you looking forward to now that you've made most of this record? It sounds like you still got a few things left to do. You got a couple more tunes. You got a couple of remixes that we're looking forward to. When do you check the box as complete?
Well, at 85, you take what you get. It's Thursday. Hey, damn, it's Thursday. But top of my agenda is defeating Trump.
Okay.
And I hope this doesn't spoil the show, but
I'm going to get behind you on that one.
Okay.
Listen, we get all kinds on this show.
Okay.
I happen to share that opinion.
No, that's really important to me.
Yeah.
I'm spending money I don't have,
Boy.
And it's this Umchugga venture is, you don't know where
it's important.
But it's important to be doing something and to be working with young folks who are doing it. And I'm happy people want to participate. And
I will say for all of our listeners, Umchugga is not you're raising. Okay, it's one thing to raise money and to do that, but your political songs are encouraging people to get involved. They're not encouraging people to get involved in your opinion.
That's right.
They're just encouraging people to get involved, and we're going to have faith that the more people get involved, the more people do the right thing.
Yeah, listen to Chickading.
Yeah.
It's another one of my non-10 Pan Alley tunes, Chickading. Another excuse to chant something, but the last line in it is maybe even vote.
Maybe even vote.
Maybe even vote. Maybe you can just get out there and vote.
Yeah,
that's what we got. We got to do it. It's going to be hard as hell on the other side, because my boy has left a lot of garbage behind him.
Yeah.
But I think it's a turning point, and a really important turning point in the country. I think we'll win, and it's going to be a struggle. And I'm going to fade into the sunset as you folks put it all back together.
Oh boy. You're depending on us to put it all back together, are you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, we're going to try not to let you down.
Okay, great. I'll take it.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that answers that question. But I'm really hoping that we see some more art from you. I think that you're. Oh, what's going on here? I see. Okay. First of all, Zoe says, I expect a remix from you. All right, I might have to answer that bell.
All right.
And if there are any other artists listening and you want to get involved in this thing, go to berkeleycatrecords.com and click on Russ Ellis and check out the remixes that are there. There's a process for getting involved and participating in the Chugga Remix Challenge. And I encourage everybody to do it.
Please do, please.
Yeah. Get in on the fun, everyone. Like Russ said, he's 85. He's going to take what he can get. So get in there and get in there quickly.
Yeah, right.
So terrific. Well, all right. Now that you have generations that have followed you into this music that you've encouraged, even if it took you a while to get involved, you've been encouraging it for many decades. And now you have children who are dedicated musicians and grandchildren who are making great music and doing very well at it. You put this bug in everybody's ear, and they seem to be taking to it in a way that is really something to be proud of. Tell me what that means to you at this part of your life. Let me say this. You have granddaughters who are really good.
I do.
What does that feel like?
Well, you're going to be disappointed in my answer.
Oh, boy.
Well, I think it's they're talented, but I think it's also family culture.
Okay.
Our family was musical.
Yeah.
And their families, my children's families, are musical.
Yeah.
And I think it goes like that.
Okay.
And you use the idea, the vibration. And I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And some people choose that route as a way of being in the world, or have that as a major feature of their being in the world. And that vibration, the music, is a part of everyone's life in my extended family.
Okay. You thought that answer was going to disappoint me somehow.
Well, it's kind of sociological.
Yeah, it's an inspiring answer. I really hope that that people who are listening and maybe have a progeny of their own who are interested and expressive, that they light the fire.
Or let it be.
Or right, yeah.
Don't get in the way.
Don't get in the way.
I can't speak for Tammy, but one of the things that stuck with me, I heard her at a house concert, and she told a story.
Does that mean that you heard her at a concert that took place at someone's house, or you heard her at a house music?
No, in the living room. Yeah, a living room of a Berkeley home.
Because I wouldn't put it past you.
Well, don't get around much anymore. Anyway, she told this story, and I'm going to screw it up, but she can correct me later. At a break at this event she was playing at in someone's living room, and I asked her about her childhood, and she told really interesting stories about her childhood. But she told one story about when she was, I think, around 7 or 8, sitting down at her auntie's piano, and there's a party going on, and she is just messing around and having so much fun on the piano, making all kinds of sounds. And somebody says, "Girl, cut out that racket."
Oh.
And she didn't touch the piano again for 8 years.
Come on.
And her lesson was, please watch what you say to kids.
Quit being terrible.
Yeah, right.
That's what I would say. Yeah. Not just watch what you say to kids, but really.
For us was watch what you say to kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And look what kind of piano player she is. I mean, she is absolutely astonishing.
Now, just imagine if she could get those 8 years back.
Right.
Who knows? Now, hey, let's be thankful for the years that she has been doing it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you extinguished a flame for 8 years.
Yeah, she did something.
Fuddy-duddy adult. Congratulations. Good job.
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
Anyway,
hey,
yeah.
Let me ask you this, man, because I've known you for approximately 52 minutes. Would you do this with me again?
Oh, for sure.
All right. This has been a great time, and I just wanted to lock that in and commit you to it because,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I expected we're going to do it again.
And you're easy to talk to.
I think one of the things I'd like to do is do this again around maybe October, so we can see what we can do to kind of rally the troops to get out there and vote.
And maybe even play a couple of remixes or something.
And maybe play a couple remixes and maybe get involved. So
maybe your remix.
I know I'm really, really busy, and I'm reluctant to just commit on the air that I'm going to do a remix. But I would say that I'm interested in it.
Yeah,
I'm interested in it. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see. So anyway, I want to just tell our listeners that we have been talking about your album. It is available to listen to right now, many of the tracks at berkeleycatrecords.com. The URL's on the screen, but for our audio, for our listeners, it's berkeleycatrecords.com. Go there, click on Russ Ellis, check out all the links. You're going to see all the tracks that you can listen to and all the fine players who have contributed to this beautiful piece of work. There's a lot of different stuff on there. So, I urge everybody, go through it all, because some of those songs may be more your cup of tea than others. So don't just listen to the first two and think, well, maybe not me, because you'll get into something. And for that matter, your blues number, Night Driver, is a little further down the list. So everybody, make your way down the list. It'll be worth it to you. You won't be sorry.
And read the liner notes.
Yeah, read the liner notes. Good stuff in there. There's a lot of commentary. There's a lot of the backstory. Of course, some of it we've given away here. But the story of really the way that I have told people about it, so they'd come and listen or watch us do this live feed. We do a lot of stories on the show about guys in their second act, because I'm 50 years old. And my co-host Pete, also 50 years old. And so, there's a lot to the fact that our generation has to, we are thankfully living longer. So a second act is pretty much a given for everybody. We can't just have one career and then hang it up. So for you to launch into a venture like an album, something so expressive, something so mesmerizing and offering up so much vulnerability and so collaborative at age 85 is something that we really find inspiring. And I hope everybody just kind of gets the wherewithal to answer the call when it comes, because that's what you did.
Thank you.
You had a calling and you answered it.
I did.
And a lot of people don't answer.
Well, that's true. That's true.
So anyway, I think let's close on that note. We're going to be back with Russ Ellis in a month or two, and we'll figure out what we want to talk about then. Maybe share some remixes, maybe do some other things. Zoe says, have the owner of Berkeley Cat on the show. Eric Din, if you are listening, I'd love to have you on the show. Everybody who's got a mission that is as important as putting these vibrations out in the universe, we want to do it with you. So this is terrific. Hey, Russ Ellis, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing it with us and sharing your time with us on the show today.
You bet. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.